everybody, Mrs. Bianchi. We're looking at number 3 on the L32. Which sentence about measures of center is true? And I thought what would be a good idea, and I'm not even sure if this data is going to help us to understand each of these choices, but I thought it would be good to look at the hypothetical data as we go through each choice. A, one of the values of the data set must be equal to the mean. So let's just look at Bianca's homework scores. And her mean or her average was 83 and 71 hundredths. Now, what this is saying is it's saying that one of the values has to be this. Is that true? Do we have 83 and 71 hundredths as one of Bianca's homework grades? We don't, because remember the mean or the average is just you take the sum of all the numbers and you divide it by how many there are. So in this case, we had 7 values. We'd add up all these numbers, divide by 7, we would get this. So that really doesn't make any sense. Let's look at choice B. One of the values of the data set must be equal to the median. Now, if we use Bianca's set as an example, she did have a couple 82s, and in her case, the median was 82. But let's look at Sue. If we look at her numbers, and again, remember the median, they have to be put in order from least to greatest. And then you have to find the number or the numbers in the middle. And when there's an odd number of values, then we will have that one number in the middle. But what if there's an even number of values? Remember, what we would do is we would take the two numbers in the middle and we would average them together. So we really don't really have a really good example of that in this because we do have an odd number of values rather than an even number of values. So ask yourself, and it might even be a good idea, what if I threw in one more data point? Like let's say Bianca got 100 as her last homework grade. If we were to put these in order from least to greatest, what would the two numbers in the middle be? Let's look at, so we might have to come back to B. Let's look at choice C. If there is a mode, one value must be equal to the mode. Now, in Bianca's case, she has two values that are an 82, and that's the number that occurred most often. So is that true? If there is a mode, which there was in Bianca's case, one value must be equal to the mode. So we have one value being equal to the mode. Let's see if choice D makes any sense, and we'll come back to that. If there is a mode, which there is a case in Bianca's case, at least two values must be equal to the mode. Now, if we distinguish between how choice C and D are different from each other, this is saying one value, where this is saying two values. For you to have a mode, wouldn't you need it to occur at least twice, if not more times, depending on how, what the data set looks like? So which of these two choices makes more sense? Now let's also look at Connor's scores. Now he had a mode of a 78. Now, if you look at all of his values, 82, 95, 15, 78, 45, 89, 78. So he had 78 occurring twice. Now, if 78 only occurred once, then there would be no mode, right? So we do need at least two values to get a mode. So that should eliminate choice C as not being one of the choices. Now, the other thing that I just want to throw out there is if we look at a data set, and let's just use a simple data set as our way to determine whether or not B could possibly be the answer. Let's say if we put these numbers in order, let's say we were going to look at 3, we were going to look at 5, 7, and 10 was our data set. And we were going to find the median of this. To find the median of this particular set of data, we would be finding the middle and we would be averaging these two numbers together. If we did this plus this, we'd get 12. If we divided that by 2, we'd get 6. So the median in this example is 6. So let's use this to help us determine whether or not B could possibly be the answer. One of the values of a data set must be equal to the median. Now, notice that 6 is not in this data set. So that should help you to determine what the reality is for choice B.